Humanity is going through difficult moments like never before. We have lost our loved ones with a glimpse of an eye like never before. Our lives have been affected dramatically like never before. Our relationship with our Creator will never be the same like never before. Our priorities in life are dictated to us like never before. Our freedom is no longer in our hands like never before. And life will never be the same after these difficult moments. Join our live Ramadan show like never before with Hatim Al-Abdissalam and engineer Muhammad Farooq on Oman FM, your nation station, every Saturday till Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. to discuss our lives like never before.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to Allah, the Master of the Day of Judgment, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to your show Never Before with me, your host Hatim Al-Abdissalam, and joining me is my brother Engineer Muhammad Farooq. Assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
Wonderful, Hatim. What about you?
Are you fully awake?
Oh yeah, I am now.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I better be.
Yes, Muhammad, today we have a very important topic.
Correct.
And of course all the previous topics were important, but this one in particular is important at this point of time during the pandemic and also throughout our life. The topic of today is money management, and specifically we're going to talk about saving. And as you know, Muhammad, the mentality that some of us might have in the past, that every single penny that you get, you have to spend it. You have earned it lawfully and you need to spend it. And this has caused a lot of problems during our life, especially in terms of emergencies. So today, inshallah, we're going to tackle this topic in different angles, and we're going to have an expert on the topic, inshallah, during the show. But where do we start, Muhammad?
Well, goes to the old saying, save a penny for a rainy day.
Yes.
Sadly, the onslaught of consumerism that we're facing, thanks to the big giant corporate world, the concept of saving is pretty much out of our vocabulary now. And in terms of money management, since this whole series of Never Before other episodes, we try to get guidance from the two authentic sources in Islam, which are for the whole humanity, that is Quran and Sunnah.
Yes.
So this episode will be no different. I know we've done a number of programs before about charity, zakah and sadaqah.
Yes.
We've done about materialism. We've done about money and wealth. What's the difference between cash and wealth and money? And we've talked about metals like gold and silver.
Yes.
This one will specifically talk about savings today. And if we look at Islam, which is a complete guide or complete way of life, it caters for the well-being of humanity. So unlike capitalism, it's not based on selfish principles that if you lose, I will benefit. It's more of a win-win situation.
Yes.
So the solutions are impeccable because they are prescribed by the Divine Supreme Being, our Creator God Almighty. And for the sake of a just and balanced society, both on micro and macro levels, wealth management is crucial. And that is why Islam gives extensive instructions about how to make money, how to spend money, what kind of healthy and productive relationship we should have with the wealth that Allah has blessed us. Of course, we are clear that everything belongs to Him. However, we are made custodians for a short while as part of this life, which is a test. So it's very crucial for all of us to know even on a personal level, how to make a budget, how to spend money, how to earn money, how to save money, how to give money in charity, how to invest in your hereafter, and how to even distribute it after we pass away. That is the laws of inheritance,
Yes.
which are dictated by God Almighty.
Muhammad, for sure, we all grew up with certain misconceptions in our heads. Our communities have fed these misconceptions, and I'm going to mention a few of them so that at least we are on the same page. The first misconception that we mainly hear in our society is money is the dirt of this world, and money is associated with filth, and that we should stay away from money and so on. But actually, this is not authentic in terms of our religion, our faith.
Yeah, we hear about those rich people, filthy rich, and money is the cause of all evil, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
My take on that is that, like Islam, being a balanced religion, teaches us to be balanced in all aspects of our lives, and money is no different. So most probably these statements came from poor people.
Yes.
And again, we need to look at, even if we look at from a religious perspective, Islam doesn't discourage the making of wealth.
Yes.
If we look at some of the earlier companions like Sayyidina Usman ibn Affan, may Allah be pleased with him, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him, they were considered multi-millionaires, if not billionaires of their time. We need to study their life and see how they made money, and more important, how and why they spend that money.
And this is the second misconception, Muhammad, that you cannot be a good believer and wealthy at the same time. You have to be very poor to be a good believer, which is a really wrong misconception, because you gave us figures from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, who were extremely faithful in their belief and also wealthy.
Okay,
They did a lot for Islam because of that wealth.
Yeah, again, this is an unbalanced approach towards money. It's more like, you've heard the famous saying, the grapes are sour.
Yes.
When you can't get it, you say, oh, it's just horrible, it's not good, it's not good for me, it's not good for anybody else. That's not the case, and think about it. If that were to be the case, why God made zakah mandatory? And we went in detail in one of the previous episodes, that zakah forces you to revisit all your assets, that is savings that you have for more than a year. So number one, you praise God Almighty for His blessings. You don't become ingrate or unthankful to God. And second, you help God's creation by sharing those blessings with the ones who have not been given those blessings. Okay? So how can money be evil, or how can savings be evil, if everybody decides to renounce the world altogether and sit under a tree and stop working? Okay? Who's going to calculate the zakah? And who's going to give the zakah? And that's one of the problems we see in this world, is that less people are giving zakah and more people are deserving and expecting zakah.
Yes.
Right? So again, we need to look at these things with a balance, and we need to try to make money and become wealthy, because in Islam it says that the giving hand is better than the taking hand.
Yes. The next misconception, Muhammad, is the hadith where it talks about where did you get your money, where did you earn it, and how you spent it. So a lot of people have a fear of this hadith, and this stops them from saving.
Okay, again, this is if I'm allowed to say, an immature approach towards this thing. Yes, there is accountability attached to it. However, we need to look at it in the context of the rewards which are attached to it. Okay, for charity, how many amazing hadiths are there? And we covered a lot of them in the previous episode. One of them being that lawful and true businessman will be counted in the ranks of the martyrs in the hereafter. Right?
Yes.
So yes, there is high accountability and high responsibility, but you need to, in finance world, we say high risk, high reward.
Yes.
Right? So again, this is something similar, and you have to keep in mind it's not mandatory. There will still be people out there who will prefer jobs, or wage earners, or skilled people with crafts.
Yes.
Which is fine. But to hate people who make money, who do businesses, who create savings and then they invest them to create jobs. This is not fair.
Yes, the next misconception, Muhammad, is saving is stinginess. So when they see someone who saves a lot of money, they call him bakhil or stingy. Yeah, and this is a misconception. It's not true, because when you save, you're benefiting yourself and you're benefiting others as well.
Exactly.
And you are saving that penny for a rainy day.
Exactly, and think about it happening, and this applies more so now than ever before, that in this COVID-19 situation, just imagine if we had no savings. How would we be supporting other people who are struggling just to get groceries during Ramadan, right?
Yes.
So there is wisdom behind this thing. Yes, if God has blessed you with wealth, it should show from your outlook.
Yes.
But we are condemned from either extremes. One end, becoming extremely stingy, where we don't even spend on ourselves, and we are encouraged, like, it's mentioned in Islam that even the money that we spend on our family is charity, right? And then there's the other extreme of the spectrum, where whatever you get, you can't hold anything in your hand. That's you get and you spend. And
sometimes Muhammad, that gives us this balance. ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط. So do not hold your arm close to your throat, and do not, extend it to the maximum.
Exactly.
So you have to have a middle balance.
This is amazing because, and again, I've mentioned this a number of times. In chapter 2. This is mentioned that Islam is a very balanced way of life, and that's what I want our listeners to investigate, especially people of other faiths and even people who haven't decided upon a faith and they're still searching. Look at it and see how practical and how easy this way of life is. Okay, so we do need to have savings, but again we need to have it for a balance, and then on top of that, in case of emergencies, like now we're going through an emergency,
yes,
we should have the heart to spend it also, not just sit on it. And the very important thing is we need to differentiate between savings and holding. Holding is forbidden, saving is not forbidden.
Yes, and the last misconception, Muhammad, is everything you earn, you have to spend. And this has been haunting us since childhood, this mentality that every time you receive your paycheck at the end of the month, after 5 days or 6 days of the paycheck, then you're done, you're drained. You made sure that you spent, even sometimes when you are not in need to buy something, but just for the sake of buying, you have that money in your pocket, you have the card, then you just swipe it and khalas.
Exactly.
It's done.
And that brings me to another point. We've taken it to such an extreme that a lot of us are living in loans. We want to protect us all from interest and help those who are stuck in interest get out of this disease. Okay? But I do agree that because we lost sense of balance, and we started moving towards, okay, whatever I've made, I'll spend it. We took it to the next level. Whatever I will make, let me spend it right now.
Yes.
Okay, so we're living on credit cards, we're living on car loans, we're living on home loans, even our holidays, the vacations that we take every so often, they are also backed by loans. And it is mentioned in Islam that taking a loan is basically the last station, and after that is begging. So we are highly encouraged not to be in loans. And the second thing is, we just talked about the giving hand is better than the taking hand. If you're in a loan, how will you do sadaqah? How will you calculate the zakat? Right? How will you do all those things? It's going to create more complications for you.
Yes.
So why not have a simple life? And in especially currently the situation that we are living through, if you ask people who don't have loans, they are very relaxed. They don't have that level of tension and stress that, my payments have been deferred for 3 or 6 months, but I'm going to have to pay it anyway, and that's what, I don't have a job anymore.
Yes, Muhammad, let us take, our guest for today, our expert. She is Mrs. Hana Al-Hinai. She is a qualified financial advisor and a financial coach. Her career started in Australia in one of Australia's leading banks, Westpac Banking, for several years as a financial planner. She dealt with over 3,000 clients in terms of investment, retirement planning, saving plans, tax planning and insurance planning. She is extremely passionate about educating individuals on the importance of saving for one's future and has been educating people over the last 13 years through her specialized session on personal money management. She is also an executive professional, currently a deputy general manager in retail banking in one of the leading banks in Oman. Assalamu alaikum, Mrs. Hana.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem, thank you for having me on.
You're most welcome. We are honored to have you today, and you are our guru today on this topic, and I'm sure our listeners are very keen to hear what you have to say in terms of saving and the current pandemic and other issues as well. So if you allow me, I will start with the first question for you today, is how did you get into the field of financial planning?
Okay, I get this question quite a lot since it's not really a field that we have a lot in Oman. So I would say over 18 years ago, while I was at university, I took obviously the financial planning subject as part of my bachelor's degree. I was very much intrigued by it, and from then on I became stuck into the industry. I wanted to work in the financial planning industry, as you just said at the beginning. For one of the leading banks in Australia, I dealt with many clients, teaching them on investment, saving, budgeting, etc. And when I came back to Oman, obviously continued my career in the banking industry. And I also started the educating people on the subject as well as something on the side, as a side business, and been doing it for over 10 years.
MashaAllah. Mrs. Hana, you being in this field, why do you feel most people don't save? What is the main cause for this?
Okay, so from my experience, I'll break it up into two sections. One is the reason, and the other part I always say is the excuse. So
Yes.
for the reason, I think why many people don't save or don't know how to save, I think it's we were brought up, how we were never really educated about money, or not at school or not at home. It's not really a subject being talked about, for example, on the dinner table or in your classroom. So many of us just didn't know how we should save and why we should save. And then for the second part, which is the excuse, of which I've picked up for over the last, you can say 10, 15 years from educating people. The excuses that I hear is always that, I'm not earning enough money to save, or I've taken too much debt, so I have to pay for that. I can't put money aside to save. Other excuses which I find a little bit funny is like, I'm too busy, so I don't know how to, do a budget. I'm too young to save, why should I think about it? I just got my first job, so let me enjoy my life. And the best one is, I don't need to save. So these are just excuses. And I'm happy to say that many of the people who said these excuses to me and obviously attended my sessions, alhamdulillah, their behavior changed towards savings after attending the sessions.
Alhamdulillah.
I have a question, please. For those of our listeners who are out there and after listening to you, they realize that yes, they need to make a budget in their life and saving is something that they need to prioritize in their life. What would you recommend? How can they get educated? For example, let's say their background is not in accounting or finance.
Okay. So the good thing is, what I always tell people, like when you attend, for example, if you attend one of my sessions, it's got nothing really to do with accounting or finance. It's personal money management. There are many topics online that you can read about this as well, but I'll give you a few tips. So for those who would like to start saving, I would say you really need to work out your monthly budget. So either you come up with an Excel sheet where you put down all the income that you're getting versus all the expenses that are going out. You can use an app. You just need to track your daily spending. What are you spending on a daily basis? The main thing is also identifying your goals. A lot of people don't have goals, especially those who've perhaps just graduated from university. They haven't sat down and thought about, what are their goals? So, they want to get married, buy a land, buy a house, do their master's degree, put some money aside for an emergency. What exactly are their goals? Once you've done that, you've identified your goals, you've put down basically how much money you need in order to accomplish your goals, put that money into a separate account, start, do your budget. And the most important is not to touch your savings. So I know a lot of people who put money aside for emergencies, and then they feel like going on holiday, and they start touching their savings. And I'm always telling them, if that emergency does happen, and they're always like, la yisir khair. And I think this pandemic has really taught us that we really need to have savings, 3 to 6 months of your income kept aside. For those who've lost their jobs, unfortunately, or have had to have their salaries cut, if they had kept, 6 months worth of their expenses aside, they'd be in a lot less stressed situation than I'm sure they're in now.
Hana, speaking about the pandemic and the holidays, a lot of people who are traveling for holidays and are stuck in the holiday destination, and their case is even worse than the people who lost their jobs, because when you go for a holiday, you are taking a specific budget. You have a specific budget, but now during the pandemic, you are stuck in a foreign country. You don't have savings, you don't have an emergency fund, and you can't go back to your country, and you're really in deep trouble.
Yeah, that's why they qualify for zakat, so as Sheikh Muhtasam was saying.
Yes. Hana, this takes us to our next question. Any advice that people can follow during the current pandemic when it comes to their finances?
Okay, I'll say a couple of things. Number one would basically be to cut back. So cut back on non-essential, non-critical spending during this time. I have a lot of people that I know that are spending a lot of money online, shopping online. They're bored, perhaps. We've got more time on our hands. So people are using other means to shop. So I'd say just try to cut back on those non-essential items. Try to save that money. And also, we're not traveling at the moment, either by air or by car, because we're not going out as much, we're not eating out as much. Obviously, we're going to the cinemas. So take advantage of that and save that money that you would normally be spending on this entertainment. Avoid debt. Obviously, if your salary hasn't been affected, then really avoid deferring your loans. Banks are now offering, for customers to defer their loans, and it's obviously ideal for those whose salary has been cut, their income has been lost, etc. But if your salary hasn't been cut and everything is fine, then I would say please avoid taking the loan waiver. It's just going to add more interest to your loan, and it's going to increase the tenor of your loan. The last advice that I would give is just don't stress. Inshallah, everything will go back to normal, hopefully sooner than later. And the good thing maybe out of this is that you would have really learned some saving tips. I really hope so.
Hana, one last thing I wanted to ask you is, any success stories from the people who attended your workshops, that you can share with us? Yeah. Any success story?
Yes, sorry.
Any success stories from people who have attended your workshops?
Yes. I have a lot of stories, but I'll say one that was probably quite recent. I had a lady who attended the session, and she messaged me about I think 3 months or 4 months after attending the session, and she just wanted to thank me because she was able to take all the advice that she got from the session, do all the exercises that we did at the workshop, and basically put down a cash payment onto her first apartment. She was thinking of taking a loan, but after attending the session, she was able to cut back, see where she was leaking out in her spending, save all of that, and put a good down payment towards her apartment. So that really made me happy that I was able to make a change in someone's life like that.
Wonderful.
Hana, before we let you go, how do people get in touch with you if they want to attend these workshops, they want consultation or any other services? How do they get in touch with you?
Yes, so very simple. They can find me on Instagram,
yes,
at hana.alhinai. and they can message me. And inshallah, the sessions will start once again once we're able to. Once the government allow us basically to come back all together and have our training sessions. Obviously now we can't, but that is the best way to contact me.
So how often do you have the session normally?
So normally it was on a Saturday once a month.
Okay.
It was running on a monthly basis before the pandemic took place.
Okay, mashallah.
One more question I have. Can you share some examples of financial leakage in a household when it comes to budgeting and saving?
Financial leakage, okay. So mainly it would there's different things that you could be looking at. Basically, how much you spend on groceries. Sometimes we tend to overspend. On the weekends, for example, what we normally do on the weekend. I mean, is it how we treat our kids as well? Is it every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday taking them out, or do we try to basically cut back and do things at home that don't require basically spending? There are various things. So in terms of what we buy, what we use, and when we go out. Yeah, that's what I would say, those three things.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hina Al-Hinai, and it was very beneficial for our listeners and for us as well. Thank you very much, and hope to hear from you soon, inshallah.
Inshallah, thank you.
Okay, shukran.
Ma'assalam.
What do you think, Muhammad?
I picked up a lot of gems from her. For example, where she talked about, work out your budget. And we often hear that you can't improve something that you can't measure.
Yes.
So you need to know where you are. You need to decide what is the desired situation where you want to be. The goal. And then you'll be able to work out a roadmap. How much sacrifice you can do with your circumstances to get there, how quickly it can be achieved.
I relate with what she said, and if I go back at the time when I received my first paycheck, my first job, the mentality that I had was, I've never earned a single penny in my life, and this is the time to enjoy it and spend it. I mean, burn it out. So you go and buy expensive cars that you cannot afford. You go and buy stuff, online shopping.
You want to pamper yourself.
You want to pamper yourself because you know the feeling of being deprived all these years that I only get the allowance from my parents, and now that I have my own earnings, then it is time for me to enjoy.
Another thing I noticed, and again I'm glad you mentioned your first paycheck, a couple of things in my life. First of all, I kept on confusing between assets and liabilities. So I kept on spending a lot of money buying liabilities, thinking they were assets. For example, big expensive vehicles.
Yes.
Okay, I got one imported from States. That was the level of passion that I had. But it took me a while to understand, and a lot of online education also. It was a liability. So anything that's not making you money is basically a liability. If you have a house, it is a liability because in some places you're paying tax on it. You're doing the maintenance. You're taking care of the lawn. Okay, things break down, whatever happens, you gotta fix them out. But if the same house is on rent and it's bringing in cash, and you're using part of that cash to take care of those expenses, and the rest goes in your pocket, then it's an asset.
Yes.
The other thing I noticed was, while being educated in the West, that a lot of children, they used to do some kind of work before they actually hit, let's say, college level or high school level. So we often hear about the famous lemonade stand, the kids start from there, and then they grow up and they're doing the runs in the morning, dropping newspapers.
Yes.
That's before the online slot killed most of the papers. And they would do these charity car washes. They will help out with other chores like, okay, I'll mow the lawn, you gotta pay me so much, or I'll babysit and you gotta pay me so much. So indirectly, that was practical education, or it was a substitute for education which was not there in schools, and it's not there in our area. The difference I've seen is, if in our part of the world, If our child wants to work, we say, no, it's a disgrace to the family.
Yes.
How do you go and cut somebody's grass? I'm not paying enough. I'm not taking care of your school fee and everything. Why do you have to insult me in front of everybody else? So there is a huge cultural difference that we need to address, so our kids get to know about money and saving and investment from an early age, and don't fall into the traps of loans and fancy lifestyles and spending money that I don't have to impress people that I don't like by buying stuff that I don't need.
Yes.
Right?
Muhammad, this brings me to a point where in the Middle East generally, we're still behind when it comes to the concept of saving. And maybe it is because of the excess wealth that is there in the GCC countries. But it caught my attention. People coming from the Indian subcontinent, they are very big on saving. And you find examples, Muhammad, that people, they might be, a barber shop or a grocery shop or a laundry shop, and they earn like 40 riyals or 60 riyals per month. And then they built houses back in their countries. They educate their children and do all sorts of things that me and you can't do, while we have maybe 10 times that earning. So the idea is people do save.
Yeah. I would say, we are all molded as per our experiences, the way we were raised. If I was raised in really tough financial circumstances, it will reflect on me for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter even if I become a millionaire. Most probably I would still be impacted, or you can say harmed by those memories.
Yes.
So I will still be big on savings. So people who come from there, number one, they have a goal in their mind.
Okay.
Then, for example, they have to make a house, which is not very expensive back home, a couple of rooms, and depending on what your standard is.
But still, it is a goal that they set.
For example, they want to save enough so they can get their sister married, or they want to put their kids in school. And then there's barakah element, because they're getting loans, they're working with their hands, earning whatever livelihood is dictated for them. So it's a combination of all. Now here, in the last, let's say, 20, 30, 40 years, there has been excessive wealth and luxury and comfort. So a lot of the current generation, what they are called like fast food generation, or the new generation, they haven't seen the tough times that our fathers and our grandfathers went through.
Yes.
Okay. Whether this part of the world or the subcontinent or other parts. The other thing is, here governments have been very generous in taking care of their citizens.
Yes.
In the West, there are, for the most part, social security nets available. God forbid you lose your job, you get a minimum whatever allowance. Healthcare is there, education is there, the basics are met. But when people come from the subcontinent, these things are absent. So it's everybody for themselves. So that's why in their minds the concept of saving is etched very deeply. It's very difficult to remove that. So for them to have 2-3 luxury cars, they will look at it as absolutely unnecessary.
Yes, and now this is what is happening. In one household you'd find like 6 or 7 cars. For each member of the family has their own the car.
Exactly.
An incident happened to me, Muhammad, many years back, where I used to work for a company, and we had one day I went out of the office, and at the parking I saw a brand new Lexus 4-wheel drive 570, and this car cost more than 40,000, I guess, So I was wondering, whose car is this new car? So I went to the reception and asked them, whose car is this, so that we can say Mabruk and get at least biryani or something from them. And I was shocked when I was told that this car belongs to our young Omani T-boy.
Wow.
His package, his wage is 250 riyals per month, and he got this brand new Lexus. So I was very curious.
Easy credit.
I went to him and I said, "Is this your car?" And she said, "Yes, that's my car." And I said to him, "Mabruk, mashallah. why did you buy this car? And he said, I have a big family and I need to take them around. I said, okay, I understand you need a big car, but why Lexus? Why do you buy a 40,000 real car, while you're earning only 250? You could have got a very cheap second-hand Pajero or Land Cruiser or something for 2,000, 3,000 reals. Why this car? And he smiled, he said, all my friends, have cool rides.
No pressure.
Yeah. And I deserve one. I worked so hard for
deserve one, yeah. So we're trying to fit in,
And this is the case for all of us most of the time, Muhammad, that we're trying to impress other people. We're not really looking deep into what is our need. We're overburdening ourselves with things where the brake pad of this car is more expensive than his monthly package.
Subhanallah.
So he's not looking at it in the long run. Yeah. How is he going to maintain? How is he going to service this car?
See, all of our friends out there who are still planning, big vehicles on their wish list. I want them to understand a few things intellectually without getting emotional.
Yes.
A car depreciates. A car is going to take a lot of petrol. Okay, it's going to require even preventive maintenance. It's going to require.
Yes.
Which is going to be more expensive than others. Okay.
And guess what? The maintenance services here are not very.
No, that's another show. Another show.
Yes.
And plus, the more expensive a car is, the more expensive it is to sell in an emergency. And now we see on the internet people going back and they're selling these wheels.
A lot of
very expensive wheels.
Yes.
And very recent models.
Yes.
And it's a very tough sell. Okay? So look at the whole picture. You don't have to live with that vehicle for X number of years, right?
Yes.
So it would be prudent if you get intellectual instead of getting, all my friends are taking it, so I deserve it also.
And then you find those who have a 5-year-old car and then they say, I'm just bored, I want to change. The car didn't break down, the car is, still running, it's serving the purpose and so on.
I mean, see, in the earlier times, people used to stay with one car throughout their life.
Yes.
This concept or notion of, wait a minute, man, you're driving a 10-year-old vehicle? That didn't exist.
Yes.
We took care of those vehicles and a bunch of them are still around. We call them classics.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, again, we need to take guidance from Islam when it comes to our daily lives. Islam prioritizes the preservation, conservation and circulation of wealth. Saving is a part of it. And the other thing being the preservation of religion and deen, the soul, nafs, the mind, intellect, al-aql, which we just talked about,
yes,
and progeny, nasl. So, and obviously mal,
yes,
wealth and all that. So these are some of the top things that our deen is very concerned about when it comes to individuals, because individuals form a society. So if all of us are in a waste and spendthrift culture,
yes,
economy will not sustain. It's not organic. It's not normal. It's not natural. After a while, the base will fall, and you'll start having defaults and repossession of properties and breakup of marriages and so on and so forth. And some people are so addicted to loans that once the way credit policy is tightening now, it's not easy to get credit cards. It's not easy to get car loans, right? They start, digging into whatever property they have to sell to manage that lifestyle, to fit in. And worse comes to worse, and we will see a lot of people, Allah protect us all and them from not doing this, they will resort to crime also.
Yes.
Because for them it becomes a matter of prestige.
Yes.
I've lived huge for the last 10, 20, 30 years. How I can go down now? What will my friends say? What about my family? Right? So we need to keep things real. If they had kept a reasonable lifestyle during good times, now during challenging times, they will not feel the heat. It will be very easy to adjust.
And this brings me back to the sayings of Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab. I have said this so many times. Yes, he said, "Ikhshawshinu fa inna al-ni'mata la tadum." Be tough because the blessings will never last forever. And this is what we're going through now. You know, the honeymoon is over. We need to wake up. And I have written down some things, some reasons why we need to save, Muhammad. The first one is for our own well-being, to have a comfortable life. Yeah,
so security net.
Yes. So the second thing is to pay zakah, and it is an important pillar of this religion. So without saving, we will not be able to pay out zakah. The third thing is to tackle emergencies, such as the emergencies that we're going through at the moment. Sometimes you have a family member who's extremely sick. You need to take him to another country abroad to be treated. Then that is also an emergency. Or you might lose your job. That is also an emergency. And also the concept to consume only what we need, which leaves us with an excess, which will go for saving, of course.
Exactly. Where she just mentioned the essentials.
Yes.
So if we stick to the essentials in good times, it is easy for us to stick to essentials in the tough times.
And people should not get us wrong. We are not saying that you shouldn't enjoy yourself, you shouldn't live your life, you shouldn't spend. No, that's not what we're saying. But we're saying is to have a balanced life in terms of spending.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot of substitutes out there. For example, why every weekend you have to take them to the mall and spend so much money on video games while you can have the same entertainment for almost for free online in your house?
Yes.
Take them to the beach or to the wonderful garden.
And Muhammad, subhanAllah, if you notice when you go to the mall, they are minting money, because you find a game that runs for 30 seconds and it's for 1 riyal, 1.5 riyals. Yes, you can buy a PlayStation at home for 200 or 300 riyals and have it there for 3-4 years, and they can play as much as they can.
Yeah, and invite their friends also. And when you think about it, in the mall they're paying a high rent. They've got employees. They're paying for electricity and all that. Per square foot is very expensive. Plus they have to make some money to take home. They're in the business of making money, right?
Yes.
So that's why everything is so expensive there. But we do have very nice, healthy, free alternatives, like the public beaches, the gardens, other places of nature like mountains, which are not very far away from the main city. So we need to develop this mindset that entertainment can be free, instead of complaining I don't have enough money to entertain my family.
Yes. To plan your life as well, Muhammad. Sister Hana, she mentioned this very important point, that we need to plan. We should not live like cattle, just earning, spending and sleeping, earning and spending and sleeping, and that's it. We should have a purpose, we should have a goal. So for example, if we're planning next year to go for a holiday, that is the purpose. So we need to plan for it. If we are planning to send our kids for further studies abroad, we need to plan that. We need to have a goal. And if we want to pay out our debt, and clear it, that is a goal. We need to have a plan.
Exactly.
And finally is build this nation. Muhammad, a lot of the projects, the community projects, are built out of these savings. You build a school, you build a university, a charity organization, a mosque, a hospital, you dig wells for people to drink and have clear water. All these things need money. And if you don't have that access, you can't do these community projects, subhanAllah.
One more thing I would like to add. Do you have any more reasons left?
Yes.
Okay. One more thing I want to add. Now, there's a lot of people out there who Allah has blessed with a lot of money. And which is fine. But there's one thing I want everybody to be clear about. We talked about the people who are struggling and they need to make budget and things of that nature. People who already have money, they've probably gone through this exercise. They know what we're talking about. They know better than us.
Yes.
But one of the things which I often see missing, even in my circle of friends, which is very sad, is people who have savings. My advice is, please don't connect it with interest and riba. Okay, don't say times are challenging, people are suffering, let me give them a loan, and let me get some interest on top of that.
Yes.
This is strictly prohibited in Islam. It's also prohibited in Some of the other religions, of course, they have legalized it now, they're practicing it. But we should be super careful about this, one of the biggest evils, to the point that it's mentioned that whoever deals in interest is basically at war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet, may peace be upon him, right? So we have savings, we want to grow them, that's fine. Do it through Sharia compliant profits, not through interest. What that means is, don't lend your money to businesses that provide goods or services such as, alcohol, tobacco, gambling, and other things which might be against the principles of Islam. And don't say, oh, if I do this, then there's nothing else to invest. That's not the case. There's a lot of really nice Sharia compliant investment opportunities available out there. Some of them are online, some are available in the local landscape. If you still can't find them, start your own. But please don't look at an excuse that, if I don't deal in interest, how I will make money. There is no other option. Don't do that. Get into trading, get into business. There are lots of other ways of making halal income and increasing your savings. Just one thing is forbidden, which is interest, so don't put all your energy and focus on it, but look at other alternatives and be creative.
Muhammad, I have noted down what stops us from saving. Some of them Sister Hana has mentioned them, like lack of knowledge. If you ask anyone now, how do you save? They will, the one who is knowledgeable will say, open another account and transfer, do a standing instruction, but that's about it. So having the proper knowledge of how to save is not there. The second one is influence of family, your upbringing. You see your parents going through difficult times, struggling to make the ends meet, and that will impact you psychologically. You have mentioned something important, Muhammad. You said that the people from the subcontinent maybe going through difficult upbringing, would make them have that mentality of saving and cherishing that single penny. But also, on the other hand, even going through that difficult experience, it might be the other way around. Once they get money, they start spending like crazy.
There will be exceptions to there will be exception to the rule all the time.
Yes. The third reason why we don't save is the media, the consumer mentality.
Bigger, better, brighter,
so much ads out there.
I gotta change my mobile every year.
Especially now during the pandemic, Muhammad, you see the ads are even more, because we're sitting at home, they're online, and the services of delivering to your doorstep.
Just click one click purchase.
So sometimes, Muhammad, you don't really need things. You're just buying what you see. Only one source of income. We encourage people, Muhammad, to have 2 or 3 sources of income, and don't depend on only one source of income.
I'm going to share a few tips here if you allow me.
Yes.
First of all, the minute you get your income, and we use the word synonymously with paycheck, because a lot of people are on jobs. Okay. First thing you do is saving, not that you go through all the expenses and then what is left you try to save it. Okay. The first thing should be X percentage of your monthly income should go towards saving, right? And second thing is that stop being an impulsive buyer, especially when you get online. Third thing is, you mentioned about single source of income. You should have multiple streams of halal income in your life, okay? You must have at least 2 or 3 sources of income. One could be rent coming from somewhere, one could be a salary, one could be that you have invested in a SME business, or with your cousin, or you're doing it yourself on the side, or even a big business.
Muhammad, let us not forget our own skills. Every one of us has a set of skills that someone else needs. I'll give an example. I have a friend who is earning a living. He's an imam of a mosque. He leads the prayers, and also part-times he teaches the Quran through Zoom online.
Excellent.
Yeah, so he earns for each sitting. He earns like 5 riyals, and he makes a second earning. So use the skill that you have, you know, to make money.
Yeah, because see, when you want to make money, and that is hand in glove with savings. Either you can trade your hours for money. Yes, trading money for time for money, or you can trade what is called in terms of investment, that first you make money for yourself, and the second phase is that money makes money for you. So you might have invested in Sharia compliant stocks or some government development projects where whatever income or profit, they're making profit and they're sharing part of that profit with you.
Yes.
So for them it's good because they don't have to take a loan on interest, and for you it's good because you don't give savings to someone where you're just sitting and taking loans. So there's a huge difference between trading business and just having a loan on interest.
The next reason why people don't save, Muhammad, is shocking, but it does exist. Not to pay zakat.
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
So people make sure spend, if I know that another 1 month until my saving is due for zakat, then let me just burn it out, so that I don't pay zakat.
And by the way, we see a lot of this in the West where they have double taxation, in some cases they have more than that. First, when you earn money, there's tax on it. And then when you spend money, there's tax on it, and then if you have savings, there's tax on it. So when they calculate, they say, well, wait a minute, if I let all this money sit around for whatever, till the end of the year when it's time to file the tax, it's better I go and spend it. So let me just paint the office, let me put new split units, let me buy new vehicles on lease for my business, let me take a holiday, so I don't have to pay tax. So that I can understand. It's a man-made formula which is flawed. But when we talk about zakat, I'm surprised. My friends, I always advise people that have at least a percentage of your portfolio in metals. It's a hedge against inflation.
Yes.
So instead of having, as an example, I don't know, $1 million riyals cash in your account, why not invest it? It will generate savings, but why not put that money to work? Like buy a property and rent it, or buy metals with it.
Yes.
Okay, that's gold and silver. And the first thing they'll tell me is like, oh, I'm going to have to pay zakat on gold and silver. And then you have to pay it on your cash also. So strange mindsets that we have.
Muhammad, the next reason why people don't save is very funny, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here, but I'm just going to say it, is some wives drain their husband's income so that they don't get married again to another wife.
Yeah, you shoot yourself.
I shoot myself in the foot, but it does happen.
Yeah, well, but the sad thing is that if they want to, they can still go out and get a woman.
The next one is people don't know how to say no. So, and this is a very big burden, and it doesn't help them to save. So you have your savings, your friend comes and says, can you lend me some money? You don't know how to say no. Your kid comes to you and said, there's this latest toy from Toys R Us, and I need to get it. You don't know how to say no. Your family says, we want to go to Switzerland this year for a holiday, and your budget is only Malaysia, and you don't know how to say no. So not knowing to say no is a big problem.
Okay, yeah,
for saving.
It is, and I'll share some of the replies that we can handle.
Yes.
I want the listeners to come to our Facebook page and then comment if these replies are correct or they have better ones. First one, for example, your friend comes and he says, I need so much money.
Yes.
You don't have to lie or anything. Don't say I don't have it. Say I cannot give it. If he's still going to be your friend, well and good. If he's not going to be your friend, well and good. Why? Because once he takes a loan from you, most probably he's not going to pay it back. He won't be able to pay it back.
Yes.
And your friendship will hit rocks anyways.
Yes.
The other thing is, don't keep too much liquidity. What do I mean by that? Some of your wealth, keep it in land, livestock, okay, cattle, things like that, metals. Kettles and metals. That sounds so good.
You should be a rapper.
Okay, so if you have all this cash lying around, then obviously someone's going to come and ask you, and you might say no 4 times, and 5 times you might go soft and give it to them.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I see with my friends. A lot of them are falling behind on paying zakah, okay, because they got engaged in these other things.
Yes.
So yes, you need to say no, but in a proper way.
Yeah.
Okay. For holidays and children buying toys, you tell them, okay, start saying, I'm giving you so much allowance monthly. Let's all chip in the next holiday.
Yes.
Why should I pick up the tab for the whole thing? And for the toy for the kids, you educate them. But okay, this toy is so many reals, so you'll have to work so many hours to make this much money to buy this.
Yes.
But if you buy these alternatives, you can have 5 toys for the same price for the same number of hours that you work.
Oh, Toys R Us is gonna hate us, man.
I thought we are not supposed to mention names.
Okay. The next reason why people don't save, Muhammad, is ad hoc expenses appearing during the month. You know, suddenly the electricity or electronic items in your house, they broke down. The refrigerator, the AC, you name it.
Yeah, that happened to me last week.
You know, something happens in the middle. Your car broke down, so you get into an accident, God forbid. You have to, you know, compensate. You have to pay the insurance. You have to pay to repair the car and so on. So anything that happens which is not part of the budget, that's why you need to keep, you know, some saving and a specific allowance in your budget for these changes that might happen during the month.
And by the way, one more thing I want to add. After you take care of that emergency, don't let the emergency fund be depleted. Okay, fill it again. Get it to a comfortable level again.
Yes.
For example, you might say, okay, whatever my net worth is, I'm going to keep the emergency budget at 5% contingency or 10%. Stick to it. It's not like, okay, I bought a refrigerator, which I did, okay, because the other one died. Now, this doesn't mean that I live with that, minus or that gap. I need to fill it up.
Yes. The next one we spoke about it is overburden with loans. We mentioned the Lexus.
Yeah, we've touched upon this in so many episodes because this is something very dear to my heart. I see so many of my friends suffering loans, and some of them they are good in nature. They wanted to pay the loans off, but the external situations, they're not letting them pay.
Yes.
So they become a victim, but it's because of their own decisions that they made earlier. They should have not gotten into those loans in the first place.
Yes. Not earning enough, Muhammad, is also a reason not to save. People would have that excuse that I'm not earning enough. And the reason why they are not able to save because of not earning enough is because the standard of living is not equal to the earnings. The standard of living is maybe higher than what they earn. This, gives them a problem.
That's what I was going to say. Everybody has a different definition of not earning enough. Okay, I could be really at the bottom of the food chain, but I could be very content and I have enough to survive with little bit that I have saved.
Yes.
On the other side, I could be living really high. Okay, but I have too much financial leakage and I just can't save anything. So I will be telling you how come I'm not earning enough, I can't do any savings.
Muhammad, the last minute of the show, the last reasons why not to save, people say they're too young to save or too rich to save.
Ouch.
So I already have a thick bank account in my in overseas and I don't need to do any saving, which is, anything can go wrong, so you need to save.
Exactly. My advice to everybody out there would be, first of all, realize that you need savings. I don't care how poor you are or how rich you are. And second thing, after you buy this idea that you need savings, educate yourself. Okay? That's the message I have. And the third part is take massive action on that education. There is no shortcut.
Thank you very much, Engineer Muhammad Farooq, and thank you very much to Mrs. Hana Al-Hinai for the insight on today's topic, money management. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.